Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jimberly Jones here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
All right, so fucking Last of Us 2.
Jim!
Now, can we just get this out of the way, please?
Can't you just acknowledge my little quip that I called you Jimberly Jones
Oh,
first?
I'm very aware of what you called me. So, God,
Don't let it get under your skin. We know they suck.
I'm on the internet too much. The thing is that they probably don't even suck. Like, from everyone I see talking about the game, they're either very uncomfortable by it or they say it's a masterpiece, which is fine. I got two problems I got to bitch about, and then we can go into business as usual. And
Wait, can I just ask a question?
Go on.
Did you say people are uncomfortable with the game?
Yes, because the storyline progression of the game, without getting spoilery, because that's fucking everywhere. They basically, you know how normal games will make you choose between doing the right thing and the wrong thing?
Yeah, that's what most really timeless games do.
Yeah, well, this one just makes you pretty much do the wrong thing every time. And then you basically have to live with those decisions, and it's supposed to build the angst of this futuristic world, or, you know, people are the monsters, because we're Naughty Dog and we make art now. We don't make stupid Uncharted and Crash Bandicoot anymore. We're an art house. And
So people are just getting, make bad decisions like the no Russian from Call of Duty?
kind of, but isn't in that one, can you choose to not do it and then the story's different, or no?
Yeah, I mean, you can choose to not. It still happens. It's just they tell you can skip over this particular moment.
Oh, well, yeah, you can't skip the moments and you do it every time with every moment.
I'll be honest, I didn't look deep enough into what these moments entail, so now you've got my attention, and I'm a little intrigued.
And here's the thing, I don't even care about that. I have no problem at all with it. I'm actually, after everything I've seen, I'm actually interested in playing it. I don't want to spend 30 hours fucking playing it, which is apparently how long it takes, which is another goddamn video game padding itself and taking way too goddamn long. But, okay, so...
All right, so let's hear this little bitch fest that you're about to do.
Okay, so first thing, can these fucking reviewers, and actually, I don't always agree with what he says, but Jim Sterling kind of nailed it. He's just like, this is going to be another one of those games that everyone's giving 10s to right now, and 5 years from now, everyone's going to meme it and say what a shit game it is. And it might not be memed and shitty like, say, what Heavy Rain was back in 2010, and how they talked that up, and then that was going to change the game and be this new revolutionary force in game storytelling, and gaming will never be the same. And, you know, 3 years later, everyone's like, well, the voice acting kind of sucked, and the dialogue was stupid, and the gameplay really wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. So, the way the dick-sucking fest is going with this game right now, it'll probably be a game people still like the first one down the road, but it's not, like, it's 10s across the board, and I just think, I'm so sick of these goddamn game reviewers. Like, stupid Neil Druckmann and stupid Naughty Dog, like, if you want to make your stupid art house piece, fine. Like, it's annoying, and you're annoying about it. And, like, some stupid reviewer on Twitter compared it to fucking Schindler's List, which no video game will ever, like, be the impact story-wise as a movie will be. Like, just, like, the interactive nature of it will always contrast, and you can never fully focus on the story unless it's a dumb interactive story, and then you can barely even call it a game at that point.
Well, let's also walk that back a second and acknowledge that the other reason Schindler's List was so powerful was because it was based on a real life, the worst event ever in human history. Whereas there's no film that can compare to Schindler's List unless you're doing another real life event. So yeah, to compare it to Schindler's List is beyond ridiculous.
Right, and then like people were having fun with it and saying, you know, Heavy Rain was the Sophie's Choice of blah, blah, blah. Like, people were dunking on it. And then, of course, Neil Druckmann, who is the head of Naughty Dog, like, he started yelling at Jason Schreier, who, like him or hate him, he's actually a legitimate game journalist, like one of the few out there.
I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, you don't spend as much time on the internet as me, luckily for you. So, but, like, he's a guy who, even though I kind of hate him, I also respect him at least. And this, like, fucking Druckmann was all like, oh, you know, I think this kind of, you know, bashing hurts only the community and game telling and blah, blah, blah as a whole. It's like, dude, just get the fuck over yourself. Can everyone involved in this goddamn industry just get the fuck over yourselves? Like, like so many of these goddamn art house gamer people are always easily butthurt babies, so always want to make their goddamn art, and you can't talk any shit about it, or else you're being abusive and you're being a bully online because we're all fucking nerds. And that's why now for the last goddamn week it's been stories about girls being assaulted by these fucking game developer nerds at goddamn conferences because they never got laid and now they have a little bit of power. So like, just stop taking yourself so goddamn seriously. Stop trying to make art out of everything. It's fucking video games. It's an escape. Jesus Christ.
So are you suggesting games can't be art?
I've said it before. I'm like, just games can be art, but it doesn't mean that every game has to be art.
Art?
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 I?
What are you, goddamn Scooby-Doo right now?
Art?
No, I hear you. And obviously, I don't follow it as close as Jim has. So I can't speak, to all the details of. We've seen this before. The same deal we talked about either last podcast or the previous one. You have game developers that get so butthurt over any type of criticisms where they'll pull their games or they just refuse to make games anymore because it's too much, like the guy who made Fez and all that. Like, there is undue criticism, and there is a mountain of negativity. No matter what you do, video games, music, films, art project, it doesn't matter. If you put something out there, most of the time you're going to see nothing but negativity, especially from Twitter, which is a goddamn sewer of interaction.
Oh, yeah.
But with that being said, you just made who knows how many millions of dollars. You made a lot of people really happy. Don't worry or focus in on the people that are bitching about it and grow a little bit of a thicker skin in being able to deal with it. Like, I don't have sympathy for anyone who, if you're an indie developer and you truly did your blood, sweat, and tears and you dumped all your money into a project and you're getting undue amount of hatred, I could sympathize with you. But Naughty Dog, I'm not going to sympathize. If somebody wants to, talk shit about your super successful game, wah. Like, there's bigger things to worry about. This whole argument,
I'm
though,
a millionaire. Most people love my game, and it actually just became the fastest selling game in the history of the PS4. But not everyone likes it, and some people make fun of me. Fucking wah.
Yeah. There's a, it's just like that South Park episode where, Cartman gets Butters to get rid of all the negative comments for him. It's like there are, I think, people that just can't handle that kind of negativity. Apparently this guy is one of them, and it's just, Naughty Dog is just not doing themselves any favors. But if they make good games, gamers have a very short attention span. Hardcore gamers may remember the shitty things they pull, like Nintendo is a perfect example of a company that constantly shits down our throats and we keep buying their stuff. So it's kind of like, it's what most major game developers do. They do something that pisses the majority of people off. They make a good game. And yeah, it's this ping pong thing. It's just so stupid, and I hate even wasting energy on it.
Normies don't fucking care. That's why Call of Duty and Madden sell more than most games every goddamn year. That's why for every stupid YouTuber with their dumb get woke, go broke, hot take reaction videos to the leaks, guess what? It didn't affect shit because the game is outselling everything. It's outselling Animal Crossing and all that crap. So, just everyone shut the fuck up. It's not that big a deal. It's fucking video games.
Yeah, it's just people gotta cling on to something, Jim.
And if I can be a hypocrite for a second, Brian, as I'm often to do.
Oh, we know you are the most flippy floppy of all flippy flops.
Yeah, it depends on the day. And speaking of flippy floppies, so another issue with this game, and it's not even an issue with the game itself, it's more of Sony. And as we discussed before, and I've made fun of people before for crying too much that games imported from Japan get censored for nudity and all that crap, because Sony had a blanket rule about it. Well, of course that can apply to, goofy little fan servicey Japanese anime games, because who cares about them at that point? But Sony's flagship art house game that sells all the copies can have a gratuitous sex scene in it. I don't even care if there's a fucking sex scene in it. I just care about the double standard that's going on here. Let me have my big titty anime waifu uwu titties. And, you can have your little fucking, beautiful acoustic guitar string, 3 seconds of penetration before it goes to black. But, give me both. Don't say one or the other just because you want to be artsy.
But that's... I don't even know if it's a PlayStation-only thing, because...
It isn't. Nintendo lets these same games come over completely uncensored. Nintendo, of all fucking people, lets these games come over. Well, no, but that was my
point. Like, this isn't even the first game to do... Like, Witcher had hardcore sex scene. God of War had... Like, this isn't even the first major title to do this. So it's like, I'm not...
God of Wars were always kind of like, it goes to the side and then it's like goofy, like with hearing the moans. Like this is explicit, and it's like, I don't, like, I fucking jerked off to everything. I don't give a shit about what's going on in this stupid game. It doesn't offend me, but it's just the fact that, this is okay. But, some goddamn gorgeous, perfectly drawn girl with G-cups is too naughty for goddamn PlayStation.
Listen, Jim, I don't want to argue on the side of any of this, but it's also, there is a difference between gratuitous and whether you think it's there or not for plot. I don't know. I saw that scene.
It's probably a beautiful scene. It's probably in the context of it. It's probably very emotional and powerful. Probably.
I don't know why it's there. I don't care why it's there. I don't care that also that when, as Jim puts it, as he wants, whatever the way he just described it, his little anime porn. The
beautiful big bouncy uwu floppy woppies.
If it's there for anime porn, it is gratuitous and it's only there to be there. So I can understand there being a big difference between, like, if you're just doing it to do it, or it's a part of a plot and it makes sense. I don't care either way. But what I will say is, when you sent me that and I looked at it on my phone, I didn't realize that was a girl at first, and I didn't realize she had boobs. Like, it didn't look. I legit was like, "What is he talking about?"
People at first were saying it was like, the first either gay gratuitous scene on there, or the first like sex with a trans or something. But it eventually came out that's like, no, she's just like, apparently they modeled Abby after like a female bodybuilder or some shit like that. So yeah, it's
I'd say
straight.
so.
It's whatever. Yeah, no, she's both.
No, but I was just like...
and even if it was gay, that doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a gay sex scene. Fucking have two dicks stocking on the game. I don't care.
No, you're mad about the boobies, and what I was saying is, like, it took me a few watches. I was like, did they actually show that? Like, I thought they did the cut kind of like God of War or some of these others, where it's like, really, the screen cuts it off. But there is, and then I saw on Twitter, I followed that thread that you put up, and I saw people screenshotted it, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess they do show it. At the end of the day, I don't care, and I don't even care that there's double standards. This goes back to what you just said, being a hypocrite.
Yeah, of course.
Wah! AAA titles that make them all the money, they're gonna let do whatever they want, whereas indie developers that just want to show ridiculous anime porn are getting censored. Wah!
I think it just ties in more to the art house thing that I'm just sick of seeing. So we're making art. We have beautiful. This is beautiful. Shut the fuck up.
We've established your anger and hate towards anything that has too many layers. You want all surface, and we get it. And I agree with you. There is a. At the end of the day, you and I've talked. Video games are a form of escapism. Can they be beautiful pieces of art? Sure as hell can.
Of course they
can.
can.
Enough about Senua's Sacrifice, that Hellblade game. That's a piece of art.
And Flower.
No. But what I will say is, yeah, of course there's the people who are making it to make a piece of art versus forgetting to make a great game. I'm not saying that Last of Us 2 isn't a great game, but you're always going to get that. So there's plenty of filmmakers, and obviously film in general is supposed to be an art form, but they think they're taking their movie a little too serious and trying to send too much of a message versus just giving you some form of entertainment. So
right.
It's all in the creator, but it's just funny because I know you instantly hate it all. I'm a pinball machine.
I'm just on the internet too much. I just see every.
You really are. I think it's seeped into your head way too much.
I see every side taking themselves way too seriously so goddamn much.
And how you've joined it, Jim. Good job.
I don't take myself seriously at all. Look at me.
Jim, you just started a 15-minute rant about how much this angered you.
Yeah.
You don't think you took that seriously?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's keep a hypocrite counter on this episode.
God. Oh, that would be... We need a new drinking game in the future. Every time Jim does something that contradicts himself.
Look, Brian, look, if I should take the important things in life seriously, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, apparently.
Oh, we got a whole goddamn thesis on that. That was... Wow.
Hey, the game's loved, like we said.
Hey, and that's fine. It's I will gladly play through it.
I should give that a legit chance. I should give it a legit chance.
Well, see, as it was pointed out in that guy's write-up, I admittedly said I have the littlest experience. You do what you do with everything, which is you played a little more than me, but you made it seem like you were much more experienced, and you don't admit that. You just don't really know what you're talking about.
I said I played it for a little bit. I said I played all of Sonic 3, basic Sonic 3. And don't fucking give me, oh, well, it's a complete experience. It's two halves of a game put together. Shut the fuck up.
No, that's, seeing things like that, I saw some people's comments that were...
And to that guy's point, like, I'm not here to just beat that guy up. Like, he was right about, like, 90% of what he wrote, so...
Yeah, but what did you just say? Now, this is the hypocrite counter just went off for you. Don't take the shit so serious.
Well, yeah, that's my overarching point. Even if you are right, just don't take it so serious.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people are allowed to play a game and completely disagree. Jim and I do that all the time. That's kind of the point of this is we both see things completely different. And that's the point. And if you do it with strangers online, just like everyone nut-hugging Rain on Mortal Kombat, Jim and I will never agree with you guys. And that's fine. You can tell us why you think it's better or why we're wrong. That's all good, but...
I mean, we're not, but...
So, yeah. So, Jim, since you son of a bitchin' side railed us so bad, what are you drinking?
Well, tonight,
Because I'm almost done my beer, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'm like 3/4 down my first beer. Tonight, I have a couple of the Sour Hounds by the Roy Pitts Brewing Company. So they are out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, nice and local. 5% alcohol by volume, and basically what it is it's sour ale. I kind of mentioned it a little bit a while ago on Twitter, but it's a nice... I'll give a quick review because I've had it before. Like, if you're a person who like kind of likes sours, but you always find them a little too overwhelming, this is like a good one to go for. It's... Pardon me.
Goddamn really?
It just came over me.
No, you don't get to continue.
It just came over me.
You don't get to goddamn continue. You drink your goddamn shitty sour.
I'm sorry.
No. You son of a bitch.
So if you don't like the mouthfeel of sours, but you enjoy the taste, a little teensy bit of the taste to get a little sampling of it, this is a good one to go for.
I don't like the ear feel of your goddamn burps. How about that?
Brian, let it soothe your brain. Let it massage you.
All right.
Brian, it is episode 69, so let it touch you in places, Brian.
It is. We couldn't even make a joke about that, Jim. You fucked us all up. I'm all flustered.
It's too easy, Brian. It's too easy to make that joke.
All right, so I'm going with the Flying Monkey Brewery. If you guys remember, my first beer brew was the actual. Shut the fuck up, Jim.
Brian, I'm gonna make blowjob sounds to celebrate episode 69 every time you talk this episode.
Jim, don't worry. I'm gonna make sure you get a good ball tap for our triumphant return. Don't you worry. I have something planned.
Why?
So
I'm gonna do anything.
You do everything.
Goddamn innocent.
All right. So I'm going with a juicy ass IPA. Flying Monkeys, like I said, made that vanilla cupcake IPA, which was amazing. And the cans are just a selling point for me. There's a ton of artwork, and I'm gonna steal Jim's bit. The beer itself at the very top is exactly like Jim, plump and unfiltered. And from the busy minds and happy hands of the Flying Monkeys, enjoy Juicy Ass IPA, a golden ambrosia of beautiful hops with notes of pine, tangerine, and passion fruit. Plump and fresh, Juicy Ass is a fun, delicious craft beer. Juicy is a word we use when we talk about hops. Our award-winning American IPA mashes bright, fruity notes, dank, hoppy bitterness, and fresh... Fuck. Okay, it's cursive. Fresh verdant resins with sticky malts for softly carbonated, unfiltered flavor. That's a whole bunch of ways of basically saying that this is one of the unfiltered IPAs, although holding it up, if you guys have ever had the unfiltered IPAs or hazy IPAs, it ain't that hazy. So I'm actually surprised. It looks a little more filtered than I would have thought. It's pretty goddamn good. Everything from Flying Monkeys I've had so far is really good. Definitely try it if you get a chance.
And go to Catholic school so you can learn to read cursive writing.
Yeah, it's a dead art, Jim. It's like your Naughty Dog games.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna care about it.
Right, it's being replaced with Common Core.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Jim, what are you playing? Don't piss me off with the answer.
Yeah. What do you call it? I was busy as shit, and I was also tired a lot, so I didn't really play that much this past week, but I did dip my toe into Freedom Planet. So what Freedom Planet is what?
I saw your stupid tweet about it, so go ahead. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, it's at its core, it's a Sonic clone. Straight up Sonic clone. But they put a shitload of work into not only the pixel animation, but the story and the voice acting. And the bit I've played of it so far, I already enjoy it way more than I did Sonic Mania. So, like, Sonic Mania, in a way, kind of played it a little too safe, but this is like if Sonic Mania actually put a little bit more thought into their level design instead of recycling a lot of stuff we've seen before.
Huh.
So, yeah, if you want, like, a really good Sonic experience, and, like, I know a lot of Sonic diehards were kind of meh on Mania. Like, the casuals loved it, and it's a great game. But if you want to be, like, a little bit... I think it's a way more involved game, so it's definitely worth checking out.
So it's not... So it's basically a better version of what Mighty Joe number 9 was going to be. Or Mighty number 9 was going to be.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So... I actually just beat Little Nightmares. Did you ever see that game? It's a platformer. So you've probably seen the cover. It was I don't know what year it came out. It was within the past 5 years, but it's part of those slew of I'll just call them like darker platformers. It's not as dark as Limbo and Inside Out. Or Inside, whatever it's called.
Oh, I have seen that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Little Nightmares, it's stylized. The best way I can describe it, if you haven't seen, is think of like a Tim Burton movie, but just add more of a horror flair. Like, everything looks like claymation. It's a beautiful, like, crazy, scary, creepy art design. And I don't want to give away the story, but it is a perfect game for those of you who don't want to spend a ton of hours, because I think I beat the whole thing in 3 hours, maybe 4 tops, because I was taking my time. But fun, but ultra creepy. Like, there's scenes in it where, like Jim was saying, like, apparently, like, Last of Us 2 made you feel uncomfortable. This is just, like, it's just uncomfortable because of things that are going on in the game. But, yeah, it was a really, really fun title. I've just been doing the thing that I've been telling you about, like going through and trying to knock out games that I need to get off my digital library because I'm uninstalling them.
Right.
So other than that, though, just atypical. I actually went back and started playing PUBG again with our buddies and Call of Duty. So keeping it simple, but I did play one game, and I'm not trying to give any spoilers to our review, but
it's a
Travis,
it's a Patreon review.
You son of a bitch! I don't know why you hate us. I don't want to give too much of my opinion, but it's Dragon Ball Z. Was it
Dragon Ball GT Final Bout?
Yeah, you said is it the first Dragon Ball fighting game?
It's the first licensed one to come out in North America. There were 1,000 in Japan before on all the systems.
Okay. And it came out on the original PlayStation.
Yep.
It's just, I'll save most of my opinions, but I played plenty of that, so.
Yeah, and I'm going to be playing through Nerdy Nick's Patreon game this week, because apparently it's short. So Tiny Tank, I'll be playing through that this week.
Yeah. I haven't played Tiny Tank. I'm just going to guess it's a better game, Jim.
Yeah, I'm going to say that there's a very good chance that it is. It doesn't really have an uphill battle. Let's put it that way.
So yeah, so that's what we've been playing. All right, go ahead, Jim. What do we got?
All right, so Patreon, as always, www.patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on this Power Hour podcast. And quick aside, For you $10 a month people, you are getting your so part of the $10 tier is we will put your name and whatever link of choice to your content in the description of every single one of our videos. And I've been going back through our entire goddamn upload category, updating every single fucking description. Oh my god. I should have started this a long time ago because we have about 900 uploads. So
we got a lot of content.
Yeah, and I've been adding this stupid hashtags and quick end screens on everything, so I'm trying to milk the system. But so if your $10 goes far because you are getting plastered all over the place. So there's incentive. But keeping with the questions. First up, from Game Whisperer Dean. What game tune will stay in your head all day if you think about it? For me, it's Bubble Bobble.
For me, it's almost any NES title that I enjoy. So, any of the Super Mario games, Castlevania games, Mega Man games. It's any of those that are really quick, catchy, and I had some experience with growing up. There's no one particular, so it's really any of those.
All right, and for me, I'm just going to go with there's this one goddamn song that's been stuck in my head for the last 2 months, and it's the first stage of Game Ground on the Genesis and arcade and Master System. But so like every stage in that game consists of like 20 levels, so you hear that song over and over and over again, even as you're just going through that first set of levels. So, and it's a nice, catchy, short, like 30-second tune, but it just beats itself in your brain, and then I just find myself sitting there at like random times a day going do 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 do. So yeah, that's my pick right there. It's almost haunting if it wasn't so good. What are you laughing at with that?
Oh, Jim. You're reinforcing what I was thinking about last week, like you going through life. Just a very simple tune. Not a very good one. Just a very, like...
You listen to that tune. You listen to that goddamn tune and tell me it doesn't sound...
Oh, Jim.
Of course I didn't do it justice.
I just need to get you a little fez cap. That's all.
I would love a fez cap. And a fez cap would work because my head's too big for typical hats, so a fez can sit nicely.
Exactly. I'm just thinking about your well-being, Jim.
Yes, I can fully transition into Morocco mole. Thank God, all my dreams have come true.
Good question. Now, there's like Jim. I mean, I can get my mind stuck on tons of games. You know what's an odd song, and this just brings me to something, Jim. What's a game song that you always recall, no matter what the case? Like every time we play Call of Duty, especially certain maps, I always go back to that one song, like Russian music. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure plenty of people out there have friends that you guys gave words to a song that didn't have words, or you didn't know them, or you just altered.
Isn't it the Russian national anthem?
It is a Russian national anthem.
I'm pretty sure it has words, Brian. It's not just gibberish.
But that's my no, I know. But my point is, like, you just do whatever to a song, and now it's just always there, and it's been with us since whatever that called, like 05, 06. Mm-hmm. So it's still something we do. So yeah, for those of you out there, if you're listening, watching, comment below. What's a song like that you do with your friends that no matter what, it's like something you bring up when you guys are playing a game?
Yeah, I mean, we all have those friends who would just put random lyrics to songs. Like our one patron, Geek USA, like the favorite one he ever did is, oh God, what is it? Tom Petty, "Don't Do Me Like That." He's like, "Don't do me like that," and how it has a little guitar going, doo-doo-doo. He'll say, "In the butt," or "Disarmed" by Smashing Pumpkins. You know, the lyric, "I used to be a little boy." He changes it to "I used to pee on little boys," and that's been stuck in my head for about 15 years now. So we all have those friends.
God damn it, Jim.
I'm mature.
Well, most of your nicknames get turned into songs.
I know they do.
It'd be amazing the things you can sing "blub blub" to.
All right, next up.
Love you, Jim.
Moving on. G, the next level. What is your favorite unusual gimmick in gaming? Something like the Kinect, Guitar Hero, or VR. Also, since no one else has said it yet, episode 69, noise. I'm 12. to which Dean said, episode 68.5, let's keep it family friendly.
Well, with Jim in here, we can never be family friendly.
Well, I already bitched about boobs in the first 10 minutes, so there you go.
Favorite gimmick in gaming. I might have to let you go first with this one.
I mean, I guess I have to just go with the easy one for me and say Guitar Hero just because I wasted so much of my life on that. Like, give me a plastic guitar or a plastic drum set, something I can play along to, and not so much anymore because of insane burnout, but I almost did get kicked out of college because of my obsession with that and general laziness, but it didn't help. It didn't help.
Don't act like that was the thing.
The general laziness is a sidebar. I'm going to play Guitar Hero.
You were not. You were also playing the guy, Dr. Mean Beans or whatever the fuck it was. So don't act like it was just Guitar Hero that was fucking you up.
And your precious Left 4 Dead. I spent a lot of time on Left 4 Dead instead of studying.
Don't act like it's my precious, like you didn't enjoy the shit out. Just because you sucked at it, don't act like you didn't have a ton of fun with it.
I love the game, insert, please.
I think I'll go with just the easy answer too. Gun. Like Zapper or any gun you can use. Like I actually found a couple years ago the Time Crisis gun and PC or PlayStation thing. It's a stupid thing, but there's something that adds a different element of fun when you're pointing a gun at a TV screen playing it. So, yeah, that's always a good gimmick for me.
Yep, definitely. So, good question there. Next up, from Alex Perez. Shamelessly stolen from the Reset Era topic. What are your favorite one-off games that never had a sequel or a spin-off of any type or additional entry? So no remasters or remakes either.
Ooh. I feel like we've kind of covered that, so I'm trying to find an answer I didn't already give.
I don't know if we talked about it here. I mean, we've done a lot of reviews, too, of stuff that just were like one-and-dones. I don't know. We've probably talked about it before. Who the fuck knows at this point? I'll give you some time. I'll give you some time, you bastard. So, easy ones to go with from, like, say the Genesis behind me. Like,
oh, Christ, Jim. Do something other than a Genesis. Be original.
Be original?
Yeah. Oh, what are you going to tell me? A shooter that was unique because this one had a blue laser. Shut up. Just fucking do something else.
I was going to say General Chaos. A game that we've reviewed before.
Just pick something else.
Talk about fuck. Fine. Give me a goddamn bitch in hell in a second.
All right, I'm gonna use Genesis, and it's something I've said before, and I'm almost positive we covered it.
Oh wait, no, I got one. Fuck yourself. I got one.
Go ahead. Let's hear this bullshit.
Goddamn Eternal Darkness on the GameCube.
Didn't that have a sequel?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Absolutely sure.
What was the sequel, Bri? You tell me.
I think that game itself was a sequel.
No, it wasn't. To what?
That's what I'm looking for. Hold on.
Speaking of derailing.
Go ahead. Explain yourself.
No, just because, not that other games, either probably before it or since, but it's, kind of a Resident Evil clone, but the big gimmick of the game is instead of really taking damage, you're slowly going insane when you take damage from enemies. So it's more about keeping your sanity as you go, and also the traveling through different bodies and through time periods to solve this murder mystery kind of deal. So, just a unique, and the way it was all thrown together, maybe not more. It's more than the sum of its parts, but it's a game that never got remastered, never got ported anywhere else. I'm pretty sure the original dev team is dead, and it just kind of came and went on the GameCube. Bit of a hidden gem, but it's also like a cult classic at this point.
All right, so the official sequel was canceled, but then what was released was a spiritual successor called Shadow of the Eternals. So
spiritual successor, not a remake, not a remaster, not a sequel.
Yeah, just kind of like it and modeled after it. It's all right. That was close enough.
Close enough, my dick.
It was close enough. You're still wrong, but I'll let you go. It's better than most of your stupid Genesis titles. But speaking of Genesis, easy one that I've talked about plenty on here. Haunting, Poltergeist. I want to see a...
Oh, talk about being creative.
Day...
Fuck you.
That's way more creative than General Chaos because it's a tactical.
You're bitching to me about being creative with my answer. You be creative with your answer, dicknut.
I can infest a goddamn couch and scare a girl till she pees herself. Tell me a more original game. Go.
I'm not saying the game isn't original. I'm just saying your answer isn't original. That's what your bitch fest was about.
Original?
Because you mention that game every goddamn episode.
Fine, kid, cool.
That's not even the name of the game. That's a different game. That's like the shitty version of Decap Attack on the Master System.
Fine. Then I will say, if I want to be even more original. See, I usually just play good games that get sequels, so that's the problem.
Right, you play nothing creative and original.
It can be original and creative, doesn't mean it's good.
I play derivative.
I will say Time Lord. How about that, Jim?
Fine. Even though
you've never played it.
I've never played it.
Because you don't play good shit.
I don't think it's good. Pretty sure the nerd... Isn't that a game that people mostly hate?
Wait. So, Hypocrite Jim count? Add that to your drinking list?
Of course.
You just said I never played it, but I don't think it's good.
How
would
just
you
saying,
know, Jim, if you never played it?
I'm just saying, from what I hear, the general consensus is that it's not a good game.
Oh, so
I could easily play it and like it. I gotta play it.
So what you're saying is you don't know what you're talking about. Is that a fair assessment, Jim?
Yeah, in this case, I never played it. I'm just saying I heard things.
We hear a lot of things about you, Jim.
Here, hear this.
Does that mean things we hear are true?
Probably.
Then destroy those hard drives, Jim.
Right, there's not a computer alive that doesn't get its hard drive removed before I throw it out. Can't find my shame.
Great question.
All right, next up from Nerdy Nick 91. If you could have the game of your choice and have a movie be made and actually be really good, what would it be and why? Also, I'm virtually slapping Jim's nuts. Woo, yeah, buddy. God fucking damn. Why is it always my nuts?
All right. Well, come on.
I'd be more mad if he didn't cut amazing promos every week for us. So.
No, he is the promo master. Okay, so we want a game turned into a good movie. Shit. I know we've definitely talked about this. So... Oh, I got the easiest one I want.
Okay.
It's not original, and we've talked about it too much, but Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I want a goofy, Shaun of the Dead-esque comedy, but horror comedy for Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
All right. I'm going to go off the beaten path and go with I want like a good Phoenix Wright like courtroom movie, but that also doesn't fully take itself seriously. I think like with that characters in there, and if you write a good enough story, like courtroom movie, you can do it. So, give me a Phoenix Wright movie.
But Jim, you know what would happen? No one in it's gonna be Asian. They're all gonna be white, and everyone's gonna get mad.
And they're gonna censor the boobies, and I'm gonna get more mad. Full circle.
But do you want it to be a serious movie, or is it a comedy?
See, that I don't know, because like those games always kind of balance like a good story along with a lot of goofiness too. So it'd be tough. Here, fuck it. Make a serious movie that's also funny. There you go. Make it true to the games, but also make it good. And in a real movie sense. Challenge yourself. Make it art.
Jim,
Ding!
it's all art.
Ding!
Everything's art.
Does that mean my burps are art?
To somebody out there, they could be, Jim.
Ooh.
Maybe to yourself.
Maybe I'll start calling it that. Bri, don't persecute my art.
I'll persecute you all I want, Jim.
All right, but good question there. And last up from Sandy N. What is the worst purchase you have ever made?
You.
Bri, you bought me?
Yep. I went to your mother and I said, here's 12 bags of Doritos and a shiny nickel.
At least it was
Jim,
12 bags.
Are you giving a sad face?
I'm just shaking my head.
Worst purchase, if we're keeping it in the realm of gaming and all this, man, I don't know. That's tough because I know you're the spender on stupid shit.
No, I'm the spender. Like, I guess easily is one of those, like, one of the games that I'll go with, like, Conker's Bad Fur Day, because I don't even really like the game that much, but it's one of those shelf pieces that I just had to have for my stupid collection. So luckily for me, it's worth like double now what I paid for it, when I paid like $90 for it to get it complete. So just kind of $90 I just threw up on a shelf. Like, some people buy statues, I buy this shit. So I guess that could probably be one of my worst purchases, just for the lack of use that I ever got out of it.
Yeah, and if we're going, I like that idea. If we're going with that, then it's maybe semi-controversial, but I guess for purely lack of use, I'll go with my GameCube. That's the system I have the least amount of games for, and I didn't play that much. Like, I got it pretty much for the Resident Evil remake, and I got...
Did you buy that new, like, when it was around, or did you get it later?
No, I got it later, but still, I don't even know what the cost of it would have been back then, even if it was later.
Because, like,
easily.
When I got mine, it was when, like, GameStop was, like, ditching them for $30. So, like, even though I don't use my GameCube a lot, like, $30 and the bit I've used of it, I'm like, all right, that's fine.
I think easily over 100. So it wasn't brand new, but it was probably within a year of it coming out.
Gotcha.
So it would have probably been timed around Resident Evil remake. Was that release title with that game, with that system?
No.
So whenever that came out, but I just remember I got it for that. I got 8 other games, maybe 9 best. I know it's under 10, and the bad thing is, all the games I have on there are really good games, like Smash, that Godzilla game you and I played, all the other Resident Evils. Like, I have a whole bunch of just random titles for that when I played on the system, I'm always like, huh, this is actually a pretty solid system. But still, even to this day, I can't bring myself around to, like, want to collect for it or, like, buy for it. So it's kind of like... what's the point? I don't have nostalgia with it, and now, especially since Resident Evil Remake has been released on everything, not really a purpose for it for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I could say that about my GameCube, but I didn't pay dick for that. Like, my original Xbox one was never used, but I didn't pay anything for that really either. So, yeah.
Jim, you could say it for most of your new consoles, since you're not allowed to play it anymore.
It's not that I'm not allowed to play, Brian, but I have precious little time and I have things to do.
Jim, what do you call it when you have to ask permission and then you get told no? Isn't that called not allowed?
When do I get told no?
Really? Really?
Brian, I gotta play the fucking part here, alright? Leave me alone.
That's right, you're the man of that house.
I'm big old Tuffy.
Jim, you're not the one that's taking off your shirt in the beginning of that Naughty Dog game. Oh God, I really want to edit your face in that.
Sure you do. Pretty sure my tits are nicer too.
I'm not. You see, that's an easy one I could have went for, Jim, and I'm not even gonna do it.
That's all right, Brian. That's why I'm here.
I'm a good guy. Good question.
Good question, Sandy. Thank you.
This next one already pisses me off, Jim. But before we get on to it, let me stop for a second and get another beer. Jim, you son of a bitch.
Bri, don't blame me. Blame our buddy G to the next level. Former guest of the Power Hour podcast and patron.
G, you son of a bitch.
So, Blaze Pizza, it's a chain, somewhat national.
I hope they fail.
Closest that they have in Pennsylvania is more in the Pittsburgh area. So, Brian, here's another reason for you to hit Pittsburgh.
Figures. I bet our good friends over at a certain site love it. Fuck.
Sorry, I was taking a sip. But so we've all heard if you watch cooking shows, chances are you'll see people throwing some beer in there. maybe reducing it down, using it as part of a sauce, maybe mixing it in with different flavor combinations. But Brian, Blaze Pizza's a trailblazer because they are making a pizza with a white claw crust. Fuck.
Talking's tough.
See, I tried to do it fancy and stupid like, and I tripped over myself. A white claw crust. There we go.
All right, what Jim meant to say is a White Claw crust.
I said it right the second time.
Barely. You still were slurring over yourself.
I was rolling my tongue.
You were giving your own tongue a blowjob. Don't talk.
It is episode 69.
Here's the deal. I know for a fact you would love to try this.
Oh,
even if you wouldn't like it.
I would do it for the meme just to spite you, you son of a bitch.
And here's the deal. If you bought it and put it in front of me, I would try it. But there's not a doubt in my mind. There's so many things wrong with this. Like,
there's no way it actually adds like real flavor to the crust.
No,
it's a pure gimmick. If anything, like you're just taking some of the sugar out of there to, what you would use sugar for anyway.
Well, here's the thing. As a certified pizza chef from Bertucci's, Jim, when we would make
where's your
dough,
plaque, Bri?
I do have a little pin that signifies I am certified. But here's the deal. When you make pizza dough, like, I don't even know what part of the process you would add it in. If it's early on, it's definitely not when you do the yeast because it would completely fuck it up. So my guess is these jackasses just straight up dump it in there as you're flattening out the dough to give it to gimmick of calling it White Claw crust. It's one of the stupidest shit I've heard. Like, I've heard of, like, beer can chicken with a really terrible beer, or, we've all heard of beer nachos, beer cheese, beer, and that's all fine because that actually can add flavor. This just has to be a gimmick, and they're just really wanting all the Jims and Karens to come and try it out. So,
Bri, that is one and the same, as we have established.
I know, but Jim is the male version of the Karen.
a Baron? A Ken? I don't know what a male Karen is.
Just a Chamberlain Jones.
Yeah.
So that's fucking...
Short, sweet topic, but god damn do I love every second of it.
Damn you, G. Damn you.
So, Brian, when we take our special trip out to Western Pennsylvania one day, unfortunately, we can try some probably subpar beers compared to what's in the East, and we can try some delicious White Claw pizza. I'm sure it's refreshing.
Burn it all to the ground.
I'm sure it's delicious and refreshing.
You would say that. That's what would piss me off is whether you liked it or not, you would try to argue that it's not so bad. It's unique. It's doop-a-doop-a-doo.
I'd probably be like, it's pizza. It's chain pizza.
Considering your highest praise of food for a while was shit from 7-Eleven, it wouldn't shock me.
Bri, that is when I was living on my own-ish, and I had no way of taking care of myself. Their macaroni salad wasn't bad, Bri, and it came with tuna in it, so I got my protein.
Their pork-flavored meat block isn't bad.
Hey, put the right seasoning in.
You don't know shit about seasoning.
I know things about stuff.
Just because you watch a goddamn cooking channel, don't act like you know shit about seasoning.
Bri, I know anything about Star Anise, all right?
All you goddamn know is the ramen noodle pack, and you're like, if you add 2, it adds a little bit more salt.
That I know more about it than that, but that is all I'm capable of doing. There's a difference.
G, I don't know why you did me dirty.
And G, I love you, bud. Good man.
Speaking of G, and I guess could be relevant topics.
This did affect him.
He had a very funny meme with this. It's pretty new. What was it, 2 days ago this came out?
Yesterday. Breaking news as of yesterday.
Yeah, so we put it from The Verge, but everyone knows that Mixer sold to Facebook Gaming, and their top-tier streamers like Ninja, Shroud, and all them can go wherever they want. And the big talk right now is, are they just going to end up going back to Twitch?
Probably.
What are they going to do? I thought I saw a tweet from Ninja saying like he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Here's the deal.
Oh, shit. Or he's just gonna wait for whoever throws another bucket of money at him to come to their platform, which I don't blame the guy. The dude got a full payoff. He got $30 million for 6 months of work. Holy
that's what I mean.
Shit.
This is what's amazing is that people are missing the little nuanced approach here that everyone's like trying to make fun of him. It's like,
no,
dude just got paid out his ass and doesn't even have to provide, like he doesn't even have to do an output. This is the best situation for him possible. Like, what are you talking about? Do you think
fucking dummies on social media are like, oh man, he only had like 1/10 of the viewer base. Like, he really made the wrong choice going there. It's like, you fucking stupid. Or people calling him a sellout? Yes, of course. The only point you get into anything, the only reason you ever get, there's 3 reasons to get into entertainment: fame, money, and sex. Those are the things that you get into entertainment for. And you know what? He's got fame and fucking money out the goddamn ass for no goddamn effort. So he's doing better than all of us.
This would be identical to the whole what's going on with Joe Rogan going over to
get shout out
to Stitcher.
How dare he leave YouTube for Stitcher? You fucking dorks.
Or no, wait, it's not. What?
No, Spotify.
Sorry, yeah. And if Spotify closed within like 3 months and sold it back, he's still making over that $100 million contract. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, people, have this odd idea of like, they get attached to someone. They're like, yo, you're a sellout. Like, isn't the point to sell shit at a certain unless you make the argument that Jim hates, which is you're doing art, so you shouldn't worry about the money.
Yeah, streaming video games is art. Okay. Yeah. That's the argument. Like, really. Okay, let's get back to this art and doing it for the love of doing it. One, shut the fuck up, because for all the people that I saw bitching about Ninja, I saw so many, people who were partnered on Mixer who were making these long tweets, like video tweets, crying that, oh, I've lost my home. Oh, I have nowhere to go. Oh, this was, my family, and this is my passion. Shut the fuck up. None of these people ever seem to realize once they start making money off doing this that, one, you're probably good at it and entertaining enough, but two, do you know how fucking lucky and as much of a privilege it is to make a living off streaming fucking video games? If it's your passion, then do it while you're flipping burgers too, if that's your fucking passion. Or if not, then you're just crying because you have to start over. And it's not like there's nowhere to go. Like, you can go to Twitch, or if it's being sold to Facebook, then go to fucking Facebook and rebuild your goddamn audience if you're actually any good. Or go to DLive, or go to Subscribestar, or whatever all these other little minor ones are, and, be the shining star for these smaller platforms or whatever, if you really care about it as your fucking passion. You fucking phony. Your easy gig got taken away from you, and now you don't know what to do because you don't have any goddamn other actual skills, and you don't live in the real world, so you don't know what the fuck's going on. I get that losing your gig sucks, just like losing any job in real life sucks. But you're also in a weird position where you make your own schedule, you make your own time, you do your own business, you do everything yourself, and you just get paid to play fucking video games. Stop fucking crying and just move on to something else. It's not that big of a deal. It's just fucking video games.
Well, I don't know what's worse, so I agree with most of what you're saying. I'd say 90%. So here's the deal.
Fair. That's good for me. It's a good average.
This is where I see the bigger gap when you talk about different generations. Our parents drill everyone from my generation. They drilled into you. Like, you gotta have a legitimate career. You gotta do something. You didn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer, but it was like, you gotta go to college, you gotta get a career, you gotta do something. And then if you could do something on the side, cool. And a lot of our generation, most people I actually know, have some form of something else they do on the side, whether it's just for creativity, for fun, or it is a money-making endeavor. Almost everyone I know has that. But I feel like these generations of the kids that are doing this shit now, it sucks because their parents failed them terribly by not truly preparing them. Like, I think, dude, if you were Ninja's parents or PewDiePie or all these people that make tons of money, It's amazing, and yeah, you really hit it off. And even if you're someone who they're not making millions, but they're making $100,000 a year just doing video games, that's cool. But you still should have prepared them. Like, this bubble can burst, and I hope they prepared them how to be smart with your money and how to do this. And these are younger kids, so a lot of them probably aren't. So I'm sure, yeah, it is scary. You realized the years you would have been forming in a way to make legit money, to have a legit career in something other than playing video games, you threw them out. And as Jim said, you got to start over. Or, you got to go back into the pool of 1 million people right now trying to become content creators. It's hard for a reason. There's literally millions of people over all these apps and platforms. It sucks. I feel bad from a just empathy standpoint,
Nah,
but
fuck 'em.
it's. I mean, when I say it's slight, I can't describe how slight it is. It's just like I don't ever want to see someone.
I don't want to
down.
see anyone lose their job. Like, when it
I
comes
don't-
down to it.
I don't want to
Obviously
see
not.
that, but I don't feel like it's like.
But
like Jim
this
said,
isn't a real job. Like,
it's not a real job. But I also this is the same exact sentiment that I have for OnlyFans people, like. We talked about it when all this shit was popping off. I forget what her name was, but there was like all these like videos of girls being upset because they were losing like subscribers or this or that. I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. You're not doing a real thing. And let me be very clear. The people that make a lot of money, I know for a fact they are busting their ass doing the thing. Editing, it's a full-time, like, all day long. Like, people can talk all the shit they want about PewDiePie, but if you look at how often that dude uploads and how much he edits, and especially the years when he probably didn't have his whole crew with him,
before he had a team and all, he busted his ass. And even these people who I'm like dunking on right now, like, it takes a lot of work to fucking stream every single night and to prepare and to try to be on that much. But
yeah,
I get it, and you have to hustle on the side to do it all, but I still just can't fully like.
you got those guys will. You know what? They have the thing to be entertaining way more than we ever will, and they
Obviously.
they just have the thing of I wouldn't want to be on. Like, here's the deal. If you told me I could, now you would have to be a stupid sum of money, but if you told me I could have to do that, but I have to, like, 7 days a week have to be on doing this, like, I don't think I'd want to do that. But that's not a knock on saying someone that is doing that is bad. But yeah, like Jim's saying, it's not a real career. It's a very lucky thing that you were able to do that. That's awesome. Like, you hit the lottery when it comes to, doing the American dream. You're going after something you really want to do. And every kid, when they're young, gets told, do what you love, don't do something to make the money.
But then
That's true to a point.
To-
I wanted
to a-
to be a professional wrestler when I was a kid.
to a point, but then once you become not saying that they're not adults, but once you become an adult, then you realize that there's another phrase that becomes, and they say it's called work for a reason. It's not play. Like, it's the place you go to make your living and stuff like that, and do the best job you can to provide and blah 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 blah. Like, if you said, hey Jim, you can be Ninja tomorrow, would you want to do it? Fucking course. Like, I'm no dummy, but in the meantime, it's just like, especially with the part I'm in, like, say we took off to where we could make a living off doing this, there's no way I'd ever put my eggs all into that one basket.
Exactly. It's you and I. It's such a foreign idea, and on one hand,
We're
I almost
also way older. Like 10 years in internet time is a fucking lifetime. It's like a century.
well, older and have families. Like, if we decided not to go to college, and we're just doing it.
And you know what?
That's
If I'm an 18-year-old and I'm making thousands of bucks a month to just fucking live stream, of course I'd say fuck college and fuck doing a normal 9-to-5 job. Of course I would say that.
It's one of those deals, though. But I mean, I know we definitely skewed off topic. But at the end of the day, this mixer going under, I'm shocked isn't the word. Like,
It's a big L for Microsoft. They put a lot of money into that.
that's what I think. I think it actually sucks worse because now it's just a bigger monopoly for Twitch. Facebook gaming is going to go away. It ain't going to do shit.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you
others-
anyone on it. I couldn't, like, not I know streamers
Yeah.
anyway, but, like, no one ever talks about fucking Facebook gaming. No one does.
Well, it's even like YouTube gaming. like that thing, they tried to get a push there, and I know there are some people that do it, and I actually kind of like that platform when we did it a few times here and there.
Right.
But it's kind of like someone making a version of Facebook. Like, there's Twitch is now that monopoly for streaming games. Love it or hate it, and I don't like it because I like competition, and I like the idea that Mixer, it was doing the right thing, just like Spotify is doing to iTunes.
Right.
With getting Joe Rogan, getting some top tier. Like, I want to see that competition because then it shakes shit up and it forces everyone to be more competitive, and that's the beauty of it.
It's better for the end user. Yeah.
Yeah. So this sucks because Mixer, I don't even know how long it was out. Like, best case, 3 years.
Maybe, and like, dude, this is like they really fucking pushed it too, and it got no growth. Like we both have OG Xbox Ones, so if we want to stream, we can say to our Connect Xbox stream or Xbox broadcast. Back in the day, that would just default open up Twitch. But then after an update about a year and a half ago, it starts opening up Mixer, and you go, "What the fuck is this shit?" Like that's the thing that they were really trying. And according to the article from Verge, I think Mixer only had like a 0.2 of a growth over the past fiscal year, which is a disaster. And which, like, Twitch was up like 280% even without like Ninja and all their top people that they lost. So, I mean, they really dropped that ball. For. The people that can't read the room and realize guys like Ninja, PewDiePie, these content creators that are, like Jim and I are saying, so lucky, part of their luck is they're on the platform that people prefer. No one followed these people over because they don't care enough about the person. It's the ease of the platform they already use. Yep.
Ninja was on YouTube, or Ninja was on Twitch. You could go on there, see them. Now I gotta download. Like, I'm sure, there's no doubt in my mind, the same shit will happen to Joe Rogan. Like, his numbers will go down.
Yeah.
Not that he will bring a lot of people over, but he's still gonna lose easily a third of his viewership and listenership. And it's not saying Spotify is technically a worse app, but it's not what everyone's using. So it just gets to that point where, you know, the content creator itself, you realize there's part of it is you, and the other part is
convenience.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the same thing we talked about ages ago with, you know, all the people out there who are like, oh, no, I don't like the Epic Game Store because you can't do a search and you don't have a thing. No, you just don't want to click a different button. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once you get someone convenient, you realize the system is bigger than the creators, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah, creators like to think they're the godsend, and they are the reason why people are on the platform. But, you know, if this was 2009, you'd have more power as a creator.
Yeah, I mean, fucking...
There's millions of you out there right now. Like, what was that one chick who was bitching and crying because she thought she was being ghosted by YouTube?
Gabby Hannah or Hannah Gab, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah.
Like, whether she's good, I don't even know who she is. I think because of you, probably, I saw something on Twitch.
Yeah, her bitching and me shitposting as usual. Because she was like, I have a top charting pop song and I have this and that and this and that and only 200,000 views on my newest YouTube video. Like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
But that's my point. So she's someone who thinks she's the special one. She should get all the praise everywhere. It's like, dude, you are such a little fish in the fucking ocean. Even if you're the biggest people in the world, you're being outshined by guys like PewDiePie and content streamers.
And here's the thing, fucking YouTube could dump PewDiePie at any time, and they would not take a hit because they have Jimmy Kimmel and like legacy media. Like, well, yeah, all these things,
they have everything else. Like, yeah, YouTube is never going to... You could take the top 20 content creators, artists, whoever's at the top 20 of subscribe to list, they could be wiped off the entire YouTube catalog. Yeah, and YouTube isn't skipping a beat because everyone else
bigger than the creators.
All of a sudden... Yep. Exactly. So it's tough to hear when creators hear that shit. They think like the creator is everything, and that used to be the case. But yeah, it just becomes a point where the machine is bigger than everything else in it.
Maybe until it's sold to Google. Maybe it was the case then, but it's been since 2012. That's not been the case.
Exactly. So yeah, no, like you said, It's fascinating. I think it does suck though. I not necessarily for those guys. I think it sucks for just pure competition.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it's amazing for the top tier guys, for the low. We've already said it, so blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right, so this I absolutely love. Once again, it's a pretty reoccurring bit. I don't know if we did one last week, but we've talked many times about gaming music that was inspired by real life music, or vice versa, real music that, or regular music that was inspired by video games. This week, from our buddy Lucas Hackett. Thanks, Lucas.
Good man.
You sent us one, and I gotta tell you. Well, hold on, I don't want to spoil it. So, he's saying that Tecmo Wrestling, the main theme, and the link will be below, was inspired by Phil Collins and Philip Bailey's Easy Lover, which, listen, I like me some Phil Collins. I know a little bit of him, but this song is goddamn catchy.
Yes, it is.
I'd never heard it before I saw this. I really like this goddamn song, I'm going to be honest.
Phil Collins has that white guy, manly British soul. Some fucking hell.
It's just a...
He knows his way around a pop song.
Quintessential... I think this came out in...
84.
84. Yeah, 84. It's 80s pop music to a T.
Yep.
It's easy to listen to, and it's one of those ones where I listen to both of them back to back. And to me, it's kind of... The melody is there. It's exactly the same melody.
Yeah, I think Tecmo just sped it up. That's really basically what it is.
That's all it is. And yeah, Tecmo World Wrestling came out in 1990. So I could absolutely see someone who just happened to love this song be sitting there like starting to compose the music and had that melody in the back of their head and just throw it out there. Because it is obscure. As someone like even me, who I said, there's not that I'm a huge Phil Collins fan, but I never heard of that song. So it's a little bit more of an obscure title, I feel like, that you could have snuck in there.
Yeah, that was one that, like, I've heard it before, but, like, I was like, Easy Lover, I think I know this song. And then when I played, I was like, oh, fucking that one. So that was, like, one of those for me.
Yeah. No, this is
Lucas. That was a great pull. So, yeah, it must have been the guy doing Tecmo was just like, let me just do this.
Absolutely great pull, and we obviously always separate these out for an individual so I can really play out the music for you guys. But give it a listen. If you're listening to the main page, the links are below. It's pretty unmistakable, and made me actually want to go and play some more Tecmo Wrestling.
Yeah, draws you in.
So, great poll, Lucas. Thank you, bud.
Yep, he's a good man. Brian, did you switch your beers up, or did you stick with what you were drinking before?
I'm sticking with this, man. It's 6.5%, and I got the tall boys, so I'm just chugging right along. I can say the vanilla cupcake one was a lot better because it had more flavor. This is your very standard juicy, hazy, whatever word you want to use, IPA. It's good, but it's also, it's not anything special. I'll say that.
There you go. So yeah, the Royce Pitts is Roy Pitts, yeah. Very, very approachable, very casual sour, but I've moved on to the Neshaminy Creek, The Shape of Hops to Come IPA. It's an Imperial IPA.
Good job.
It comes in at 8.5% alcohol by volume. Got the tall boys going here, and I had to switch over to something with a little more bite. So this has it. I'm not going to say it has it in spades, but it's definitely way more of a... it's an Imperial IPA. What can I say?
No, yeah, it's that's a good one. I always like that from them. I still think it's a tad bit overpriced, but it's still a damn good beer.
Yeah, damn good beer. It's nothing revolutionary, but if you like Imperial IPAs, it's one to go for.
Yeah, for sure. So, before we move on to our two bets, Jim, should we save the Patreon tier list for the end, or do it now?
I guess we can do it right now. Why not, before we forget?
Because I feel like it kind of semi-ties into our last two.
Oh, okay. I'll see where you're going with this.
Yeah. All right. So, For those of you who follow us on Patreon, Jim had posted a tier list for
for as little
controllers.
for as little as $1, or that's the one I just posted this like today before we started doing this. So, should we give it a little more time before we do this one?
Damn it! I really want to go over that with you.
All right,
because we'll still.
Okay, we
you
can
and
do it.
I
Fuck
will
it.
talk
We can
about
do it.
ours.
But,
yeah,
let's
like,
do ours.
We're
on the
follow
page.
us on our website.
We'll put up
you're
everyone
gonna
else's.
See the full write up.
And who we like more. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jim, sent out this.
Did you send me yours? I don't think I saw yours.
Yeah, because you did the angry face.
Oh yes.
Yes. So, I think the easiest way to go about this.
Oh,
so it's
Brian,
not
before you start, for as little as
ahead.
$1 a month, all patrons to this Power Hour podcast and our page in general can play along. I post a link. You do it. You send it to us on any of our social medias or our email, and we will write up an article discussing our thoughts on each one's list and which one we enjoyed the most.
Well put.
Yeah.
So, trying to think the easiest way to do this. So, we'll just go through the controllers, and how about we just say where you and I are each at with it?
All right.
Is that fair?
Sure.
All right. So, I'm pulling up your list right now. I'm pulling up my list. So, you know what? Let's make it even more interesting. Let's just go first by...
Go controller by controller?
Yeah.
Right.
So, literally, let's start with just the NES controller.
All right.
So, where did you have yours?
I have it. Maybe I'm undercutting a little bit. I have a B tier.
Okay. So, I had the NES controller at the B tier too.
Okay. I prefer the dog bone, but it's the revolutionary controller design. What can you say?
It is the standard controller design, but I think anyone would agree it's a bit uncomfortable after some time.
Yep.
And yeah, it's fine. That's why it's a B tier. Dog bone to me is much better. Speaking of dog bone, and when we say that for some reason, if you don't know, we're talking about the Super NES. I had that as an A tier.
Well, when I say dog bone, I mean they eventually redid the NES controller into dog bone Super NES shape. So just 2 buttons, no shoulders, but with the more form-fitted shape. But yeah, I had Super NES in the A tier too. Even though I dunk on it for mushy buttons, it's still it's one of the most revolutionary controller designs of all time. It's a great controller.
I honestly considered putting that S tier. I put it A tier.
I'm shocked you didn't, actually.
I thought about it, and it is, to me, it's the most comfortable NES or Nintendo controller, and I love the shit. Like, there's a feel to it, but maybe it's just because I'm bigger now. Like, I feel like my hand dwarfs the bottoms, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, fatty.
So when you're a kid, I feel like it's probably a little more comfortable if you're smaller. So when you're a kid, it was probably way more comfortable, and I have nothing but great memories of it as a kid, but playing it today, it's still great. But yeah, I could only give it an A tier. I was surprised at myself too. When I was making the list, I was like, oh, I feel like that's going to be an S. And yeah. All right, so then moving on to the N64.
You son of a bitch. I think I was fair. For as much as I love it, I still kept it in the B tier.
Here's the deal, Jim. And here's the deal about these lists. I thought when you sent it to me, we were sending legit what we think, truly what it is.
I think it's a B. I think it's a B.
Listen.
No one had a problem with it in 1996. No one had a fucking problem with it back then.
I did.
No, you fucking didn't. You goddamn liar.
Yes, I of course I did. What? Number one, the
you
second I got
revisionist
it,
history piece of shit.
Like, Jim, listen. Who have you talked to, other than the 5 people that might agree with you on Twitter?
Everyone I grew up with. No one ever
list,
bitched about the controller. No one did.
You had 2 friends as a child. As a child, you had 2 friends. They don't count. When you talk to the casual gamer, you can love the shit out of the games. You can even say that people were just like, I dealt with it. It was like, it was a shitty controller that we just learned to deal with. But here's the deal. I've openly admitted many times, and even one that I don't know if you're even shocked I put it there. We'll get to it later. I can admit when something's bad, but even if I say I like it, I can admit when it's bad. The N64 controller, the yellow buttons, fucking terrible. The analog stick, terrible.
Oh, you mean the one that PlayStation copied after because they're like, oh shit, we don't have analog sticks.
Yeah, but they did it much better. And if you're going to try and deny that, then you might as well just throw yourself
They did do it better because they were catching up to the great controller that is the N64 controller.
But the point is,
playing catch up.
The only thing that they did good, the N64 controller did good, was the D-pad and the Z button. That's it. That's the only good thing they did from that controller. Everything else sucked. It was weird to hold. It's why there's a joke about I had to use 3 hands to use this controller.
Fucking dummies.
It's a stupid controller. It's a stupid design. And it's fine that you might have adapted well to it, but you shouldn't have to adapt well to it.
There is no adapting. You're a dumb kid. You learned to fucking use the controller. You had no problem. No one had a problem with it back in the day.
Listen, Jim,
it's the ultimate case of revisionist history. Is the N64
Jim,
controller?
You have to really, when you pick up an N60 or when you pick up an NES controller.
Okay.
There's no thinking involved. You pick it up, you play.
Yeah.
When you pick up the Super NES, because there's more buttons needed for the type of games that came out, you picked it up, you played. Yeah. The N64. Almost every game you had to do a little different depending on what type of game it was because it's a stupid ass controller. Did you have to do that for the PlayStation? You sure as shit didn't because you figured out they had a better layout of the buttons. The N64, the layout sucked, the controller sucked. It's fine that you want to just have nostalgia and because you have the boner for it, call it a B tier. It's truly not. The system itself, I love the system. But it's a D tier controller, and that's at best. And if you were in a court of law, what would happen is we would do character assessment of you. And how do you think that would work out for you, Jim?
I'm pretty sure I'd be fine.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty confident.
That's the definition of psychosis, though. Because you do the bad things and the wrong things, and you keep doing them, and you don't realize you're doing them wrong. We've had fan votes, we've had fan comments, we've had the brackets. Everyone knows it's a terrible controller.
I didn't put it A. I didn't put it S. It's got its problems. It's a solid B. Perfectly fine. No one had a problem in 96. No one had a problem.
Jim, but that's the same as saying no one had a problem with cassette tapes because that's all that was available at the time.
Hey, it's got its audience. It's got its audience.
Plenty of people did have problems with it, which is why the PlayStation outsold it. So obviously, people had problems.
N64 didn't lose because of the controller. Lost because of the fucking.
It sure did.
No, it lost because of the cartridges.
It didn't help.
It didn't help. No one back in the day bitched about the controller. They bitched because they didn't have the FMV cutscenes like you had on. No, they fucking didn't. No one did.
Once again, if you're talking about your circle versus my circle, I'm just gonna guess. My circle was much.
I talked to people outside my circle thanks to Ocarina of Time. Surprisingly,
you weren't allowed.
I could do it in class.
What? The lunch lady? You talk to her about your Star Wars and N64? Listen, you and I just will never see eye to eye. We can agree that we both love the system, but as we've learned with you and games and taste in general, you're just off, and it's fine.
Right,
and
right. You're more of a sheep. I have more unique ideas on things, so this is what we do.
It's completely objective, and it's fine that you just want to be wrong, and I'll accept it. You just want to be wrong. That's all.
Next one.
All right, so GameCube, I had a B tier, you had A tier. Even though I think it's, well, I know it's better than the N64.
I did not argue that.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was okay at best. I wasn't crazy about the analog stick on the right.
Oh, no, what do you call it?
It was a little too small.
No, what do you call it? It's got one of the best analog sticks, the real analog stick of all time. It's super comfortable, and the Wavebird was revolutionary, but the D-pad and the C stick are fucking atrocious. So that's why it's not an S for me.
Yeah, and that's why I put it B for me.
Fair.
So,
yeah.
I'm retarded right now. Oh, so we...
Right now?
So we...
Singer.
I put D, you put C.
Yeah.
You liked. I mean, here's the deal. It's simply you liked it better. I've just never been a fan of it. I know it's fine for games that completely require motion control, but if you're actually using the Wii remote, it's terrible. So we're not far off on that one. I think it's pretty safe to say.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Wii U, I put as C, you put as a B. I know you love that you claim it's so comfortable.
Shockingly comfortable. Shockingly. I thought it was going to be a turd. I honestly thought it was a turd before it was going to be a turd before I ever used it.
Yeah, I just was never impressed with how shitty of a range it had.
The range does suck. Yeah, and the battery.
Yeah. So I put those two together when I say usefulness of a controller, and unfortunately for that,
Fair.
they
Fair.
shit the bed.
Yep.
And then what is that even called? The Pro? Oh, no, I'm sorry. First, I guess go to
The Joy-Cons?
The Joy-Cons. Those I gave a C, you gave a B. I'll be honest, I even considered giving them a D. Now, are you counting the Joy-Cons even when you can slide them into the controller or just by themselves?
I'm concerning them in general.
In the controller that comes with the Switch, or on the sides of the Switch, they're okay, but those buttons are so fucking small. The analog sticks are not that great, and the D-pad is kind of... there's just something funky with it.
Oh, that quote-unquote D-pad they have is a fucking joke. Like,
yeah. I honestly was going to give it a D, but I'm like, you know what? I can't really give it a D, but I really just, I don't like them. And I'm actually shocked you went B. I mean, I know you like to Switch.
Yeah, no, Joy-Cons are one of those love it or hate it kind of controllers, and I know it's got a ton of problems, but I've never had a problem with it, so that's why it's B tier for me.
Gotcha. Yeah. But is that called the Pro Controller?
Yeah, the Pro Controller.
Yeah, I think that's, you and I are on the same page. It's an A. It's fine. It's comfortable. It's definitely not S, but it resolves most of the issues. It gives you a legit D-pad. It gives you a legit, more comfortable feel when you're holding it, and it's just generally, I think, a better controller.
Yep, and yeah, the D-pad's like way miles better than the the 4-button D-pad you get on the Joy-Cons. I will say though, the what I did a review on too, the Hori D-pad Joy-Con, I think the D-pad on that's even better, but just in terms of overall controller, Switch Pros, yeah, that's a solid A. So.
Yeah. All right, so then we'll do
Xbox. Do Xbox.
Yeah, do Xbox. Starting with the Duke, I gave it a D, you gave it a C, and I still use that when I play my original Xbox because I don't have the better one.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like I gave it a D, and right away I was like, maybe I'm being too harsh with it. I just fucking hate the way that thing looks. So it's not even a function thing.
Okay.
I don't like the way that thing looks. And to be honest, for me it's almost like the N64. You can get used to it and play it, and it could even arguably become a B. But the look, the general whatever, it's not a great.
The big killer for that is having the white and black buttons on the top instead of the bottom.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest crime that thing has. So
it's very stupid. Very odd choice for that. But then, what is even called the follow up to that?
The Xbox S, or I forget what it was called, but.
So for those of you who don't know,
the revision, whatever, fuck it.
The revision, not with the giant ass circle in the middle, made it like a third smaller. That version of the Xbox controller, Jim and I both put as a B tier. It's fine. I didn't have any issues.
Yeah.
I actually do really like the triggers on that.
Oh yeah, the triggers are really good on it. It's the controller. It's like a sign of things to come.
Yeah, which, of course, leads us to the 360, which Jim and I both have as S tier. It's oh man, it's tough to say for sure because we have other S tiers. It's probably the most comfortable controller.
I could say it's one of the most comfortable ever made.
It's definitely one of them. I'm just trying to say, is it the most?
If I
sure.
had to say a number one, I would probably give it to the. I'd probably give it.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, between the first two I have on my S tier, but I might lean toward. You know what? I'll lean with the 360 just because I like the offset sticks more than the close together.
Yeah. And here's the deal: like the bumpers, the triggers, like everything. I love the way it flows, and I love like there's a little bit of height, a little bit of mechanical feel to some of them. That controller just nailed it.
Yep.
As it just everything down the line. The only downfall, which its major competitor PlayStation did better, was the batteries for it. Even if you had a battery pack or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the most.
Yep.
That was the only inconvenient thing for that controller.
Yep.
That's it. The next we have the Xbox One. So I gave this an S. I honestly would probably go A.
I went A. Yeah.
The only reason I would probably go A, because as soon as I did it, I was like, I'm probably giving it too much. Two things I hate about it the most. The bumpers on the top are like smooth.
Yeah, the bumpers are why I put it down in A.
Yeah, and I've never seen a controller. I'm terrible with breaking stuff. Anyone who knows me knows I break everything.
Yes, you do.
But this controller, you could drop this on a bed of pillows and the batteries fly everywhere. I don't know what the fuck is on the deal with the back of that thing, but literally, if I put it down more than 2 inches off the ground, the back just slides off every time for me. And I actually saw other people post about it, so I was like, I guess I'm not the only one. That's one thing that pisses me off. So I want to switch mine from an S tier to an A tier for the Xbox One. All right, PlayStation or Sega?
Let's do Sega.
All right.
Weird they don't have the Master System on here because that would be an easy D.
Yeah,
that would be an E. That's a fucking garbage controller.
All right. So, Jim, you have it. You have the Genesis original 3-button as B. I have it as a C. Partial fucking with you, but also I legit have an issue with the fact that it became obsolete almost immediately. And if they had the 6-button Genesis
it's weird they don't have on
they're
this.
all third party. Well, but here's the deal. Do you... What the hell... I'm trying to think. When I think of Genesis 6 buttons, it's only third parties. It's
they had their own.
I know, but I'm saying I only think of I think I only had third parties is what I mean.
Oh, probably. That's all I had until I was an adult too.
Yeah, so that's probably why. Like, I honestly didn't know many kids who had the official. Everyone I knew had third parties.
No, at the time, yeah. I think back in the day, at the time, no one I knew had a 6-button controller.
Yeah, so here's the deal: the Genesis controller, it looks good. It was a little fat in your hands, and if the games itself would have been able to stick to a 3-button thing, it would have been higher. The D-pad I wasn't super crazy about. I felt like there was a little bit too much there. But it was really just, it boils down to how much it pisses me off that too many games required more than 3 buttons. So that's why I went C.
Fair. I mean, that's why it's B for me. Like, I think it's super comfy, but yeah, it got outclassed pretty soon.
Yeah, the Saturn, you and I have... oh, wow. Okay. I have the Saturn as a B, which is... The Saturn is essentially the 6-button Genesis controller.
With shoulder buttons.
With bumpers, yeah. The problem is the top part of the buttons, the smaller ones, they were always a little goofy, especially in fighting games. To like that difference in size, as silly as it sounds, that made a difference. Like, I think of Super NES. It wasn't 6 buttons; all the buttons were same size, and in fighting games, you could use all the buttons pretty easily. That was always my issue with the the Saturn controller. So that's why it was always a B tier for me. I was never crazy about it. But you put the Saturn, and it suffers from the same thing as a Genesis. I don't like D-pads that are all one thing, if that makes sense.
But I mean the
I
Nintendo
like
ones are.
the 4. Well, no, I like the 4 being one thing. I don't like the
The eight directions.
The 8 directions all being on the same.
All right. No, I think the Saturn, and this is the Japanese like revision to Saturn controller. I think the Saturn controller is the most comfortable non-analog controller ever made. So that's why it's S tier for me.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'll always love the Genesis Saturn D-pads over the Nintendo ones, and I don't have a problem with the buttons because that's how you can differentiate if you're on the top or bottom levels. So. But, like we said, difference in opinion.
Yeah. So moving on to PlayStation, it will be easier to talk
right, we
about,
didn't do Dreamcast.
We both gave it a D.
Shit sucks.
It's not a good controller. There's nothing to say. I don't know why someone would defend it.
It's got defenders.
Designed.
It's got defenders.
Well, here's the deal. I can understand. It's someone defending it the way you defend N64. Like, people could be like, you can play it, it's fine. And
the only defense ever is the VMUs, and it gave us the Xbox controller, which
even if that's true,
it's kind of true. But even then, it's like that's your argument.
You're
on my side here. Yeah, we're not arguing. I know.
Yeah. No, you and I are completely, and the wire placement and the VMUs I don't fucking care about it. Like
battery eaters, battery
as a guy that's defended the Dreamcast, especially against Jim, I don't fucking get why people defend the VMUs like they were something special. They weren't. So, I don't know. That controller, I didn't like the start button being a fucking triangle. Like, there were so many things about that. Yeah, it was a very awkward controller.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for it.
Yeah, that's my only D tier one.
Sony. So you gave the original PlayStation a C. I gave it an A. I think... I mean, is my guess the reason you gave it a C is because it didn't have analogs?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The original one, super comfy, but the bumpers and the triggers are the same layout and no analog sticks. So, like with the 3-button Genesis, it just got outclassed so quickly and in the same generation.
It did. But here's the funny thing. The reason why you gave the Saturn an S is the reason why I gave Sony this an A. To me, the only non-analog controller out there, that is the best one.
Right, fair.
Yeah, so after that, I'll just say for me personally, I gave every Sony controller an S tier because honestly, by the time they hit that analog, even on the first controller, all of them were derivatives of that original.
They did not reinvent the wheel, yeah, which they didn't have to. Which they did not have to.
You really shouldn't, and I could even argue that the PS3, when you included the ability to charge it and the battery was within the controller itself and it was wireless and worked perfect, like, that is so goddamn impressive. Like, I almost want to put the PS3 and PS4 controller above the 360 and Xbox One strictly for that fact. Like, you don't have to dick around with batteries. You don't have to do this or that. It's all built into the controller. Like, that to me is the definitive. If you're a gamer, this is the controller for you. It was meant for someone who's a legit gamer. But the design itself hasn't changed. So you actually had a little bit of shifting. Like, I
have the DualShock 2 as an S. I have the DualShock 3 as actually a C tier because I never liked the triggers on the DualShock 3 on the PlayStation 3.
Really?
Yeah, I just like it almost feels too light. It feels too cheap, and the triggers are so mushy to me.
They're not mechanical. They're definitely soft.
Yeah, and I put the PS4.
But to give it a C,
I'm
next to Duke.
I'm probably disrespecting it. I probably should have put it at a B, and I have the PS4 at a B just because I haven't used it enough. So.
Yeah, and I've used it enough where it's the biggest problem with the PS4 controller is the stupid. I don't even know the
touchpad or whatever.
For it. The touchpad. I don't use it almost at all unless you have to in a game to get something. But the actual layout of the parts you touch the most are fine. I could actually even maybe push the PS4 down to an A. But like I said, that general layout, that was the controller when I was saying earlier. I don't know what's more comfortable, the 360 or the PS2 DualShock. You talk about comfort in a goddamn controller, and it seems so like such a weird thing to talk about, but they know how to give you comfort when you're playing a game. I'll play that.
Yes, they do.
So make sure if you're not subscribed to us on Patreon, check the links below. If you want to submit something to us, feel free, fill it out. But the articles we're writing are strictly for our Patreons who have submitted their tiers. So anyone who's already submitted, thank you guys. We truly appreciate it.
Yep, and for those who haven't, still time, send them to me on Twitter or send them to us however you can. And we'll probably write the article up next week. We always write the article like a week after. So.
Yeah. All right. So Jim.
Here's another. This might be another hypocrite thing for Jim.
I almost want to let you go first.
All right. This comes from our buddy Kit. It's which is better. One of our most recurring bits. The N64 controller versus the WiiMote and Nunchuck combo. And I gotta give it to the WiiMote and Nunchuck combo just because you can do more with it. That makes it better. I can't say that the N64, for as much as I like it, it is limited. You can do now. If you were going to say the Wiimote on its own versus the N64 controller, then the N64 controller wins. But Wiimote and Nunchuck combo, it's the obvious winner just because you get the full range of motion, get more buttons, blah 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 blah. Even though on my tier list, hypocritically, I had them N64 over the Wiimote. I know.
Yeah. So here's the deal: the Wiimote Nunchuck is the N64 controller broken apart the way you're meant to hold it, essentially. Like it takes that middle dick part out, so you hold that in one.
It might even have less buttons overall.
Oh no, it has way less buttons. But here's the deal, like most Wii games, and I think that's part of the reason why they had bigger issues bringing third-party games over, they knew how to map the games to their controllers better. And I feel like that's still one of the reasons why I wasn't crazy about the Wii in general. But yeah, it worked better. It was gimmicky as shit, and I don't always want to hold up a goddamn remote and a nunchuck. But it's still like it functioned better for the time. I'll say it that way. Even though it was essentially a derivative of the goddamn N64 controller by breaking that thing up. So, yeah, I go Wiimote over the N64 controller. Same as Jim, except I'm sticking with my original scoring. So,
ding! What can I say? But it is a better controller.
Yeah. So, good question, Kit. Thank you for throwing that at us. And rounding us out on a recurring bit for overrated, underrated.
And this is actually a Patreon question, but I didn't have any better overrated, underrated, and it brings this whole episode full circle. So, Brian, go ahead. Comes from Snarkcast.
It's actually not our last topic because I forgot to talk about the one I wanted to talk about with you, Jim. So, either way, from Snarkcast.
Well, so much for full circle.
Yeah. It does bring us almost for a full circle. Last of Us 1, not Part 1. Is it overrated or underrated? And here's the deal, right off the bat.
I never played. I can't participate.
Okay. I thought you for sure were going to say overrated, but yeah, since you're going that route,
I'm being fair.
I'm still going to say underrated, even though I don't like Naughty Dog. And I don't like the fact that this game is heralded as best horror game, best zombie game, best this, best that. It is an amazing game. And it is one of the earlier, especially with PS3 in that era, I feel like that was the generation of games. This is not discounting any other games, but when storytelling truly started being the thing, this is one of the it did it way better than Uncharted. It did it way better than other games. it made you care way more on a different level about the main characters. And it was like a perfect open-ish world, because it was still pretty linear, but an open world of a post-apocalyptic situation. They're not really zombies, they're clickers, yada yada yada. But from a horror standpoint and just emotionally draining, it is an amazing game, and there's nothing you can take away. And anyone that hates on the game, I feel like you hate on the fact that you don't like Naughty Dog, you don't like what they've become, and you don't like general storytelling. Jim, I think you even said one of Jim Quisition's things is that he always bitches about, like, games aren't movies, yada yada yada.
Well, it wasn't that. It was more in the thing of the hype for Last of Us 2. But I like any hate I see for the original Last of Us is like everyone talks about the story, the setting, the atmosphere, the graphics, and the acting, which is all top tier. But the gameplay itself is kind of eh.
Which, that's where I'm fine.
But again, I've never played, so I couldn't tell you.
So here's the thing: I don't think you would be. You generally, like, even if it's a gameplay myth, like once we start going through Metal Gear Solid, that's a game based heavily on stealth and sneaking around. It's not the most exciting mechanic in a game if you don't like that type. And that's biggest part of this game style. So a lot of it is you're not doing much. You're avoiding the enemies. And it's a horror game at its core. So there's a lot of cinematic things that are going on. There are plenty of gameplay elements, but it's not like an open action world, action game. So yeah, a lot of people will probably think like it's not as cinematic as Uncharted. But like, why can't a game also be just something that's emotionally draining, or it is artful, or it does look good? Like, an 8-bit game couldn't do that, because at the end of the day, you were graphically, sound-wise, and honestly, probably story-wise, very limited in what you could do. And a lot of those other systems, they might have tried or toyed with it, but I feel like PS3, Xbox 360 era was the first where games could look a certain way where you're like really blown away.
I mean, it was late in generation though.
But that's my point, is like, it was the right time for games to try that. And I'm fine with a game, like, I can still have escapism. It really boils down to, are you the person that you need to be the one that dictates what you think is going on in the story? Or can you have a story told to you and you play through it? Some people like either one. Some people are like, I'm not trying to play the game to play real life. Like, if you just tell me what to do and give me a cool story. Other people are the complete opposite, like, just give me cool mechanics and I'll make up the story as I play. That's what it boils down to. So I think any hate this game gets... Hold on. So I think any hate this game really gets is people unfairly trying to compare the gameplay mechanics to something that it's not even trying to be. If it was trying to have good gameplay mechanics and failed, I would get it. But it's not like Half-Life 2. It's not that game. It's just... It's its own thing. It's underrated, and it still gets way too much praise as being the best ever. But it's important for what it did provide to, I think, gaming in general. So,
fair enough.
That's a good question, Todd.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jim can't answer it.
Yeah. Todd said it was overrated, so okay, there's our counter argument. I got nothing.
There's plenty of people. You could.
I know people. I know people who have said that they didn't love The Last of Us. They're just like, yeah, the gameplay was just though. So it once again, style over substance. I don't know. Whatever.
I almost am arguing against people that hate on it too much because it is constantly given so much praise as the best in every category. Which it's not.
Could be a point. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But the last topic, and I was even going to make this overrated, underrated, but I just wanted to have a general conversation with you because I wasn't sure if I could take it down that path. Split screen gaming. And the way I'm framing this, I was going to do it overrated, underrated because I was like, that's honestly one thing I don't miss that much. For me, split screen gaming, it's a way to play with your friends, and I do like doing that. And I still enjoy, like, couch co-ops, as they're called. But there was like also a thing of me like I didn't like that all of a sudden I couldn't appreciate the game more because the screen is smaller, or playing with people like you who goddamn screen watched goddamn almost religiously, and you were one of the worst offenders of it.
What?
Don't you dare. We've covered it so many times on here. The worst is when we're playing shooters and someone's got a bead on you with a sniper rifle, and all of a sudden Jim is just ducking in a game where you don't really use a duck button. Like, it's just, there was just such blatant screen
Look,
watching.
some people are clairvoyant, Brian. I don't know what to tell you.
But yeah, like in general, for me personally, screen watch or split screen gaming, I liked fighting games with 2 players because it didn't require split screen. I like games where, and that's one of the few examples of multiplayer games I can think of off the top of my head where you don't really need split screen. Most other multiplayer games, you do need some version of it. Because that's all that was available to play at home, I appreciate what it did. But to me, some people still argue you'd prefer to do that over playing online. I'd much rather be able to see the whole screen, not worry about someone cheating like Jim does, and still enjoy the game fully. Especially if you're using a shitty service like Switch where you can't talk to your friends, I understand it. But if you're using Xbox, PS4, PS3, whatever, you can talk to your friends, and it's not as cool as having them right next to you, and I'll admit that. But think about like what we did over our buddy Yerzak's, like having the LAN party for Halo. Like, there's something so fun about that that I don't know. I kind of look at split screen gaming as being like a little bit remembered with rose tinted glasses. Like, it's the greatest thing ever, but it was just like, it's like the N64 controller. You didn't complain about because there was no other options.
I can hear you. What do you call it? Like split screen gaming. Some of my like favorite memories growing up. Like, there were summers, like, there were a couple summers in a row where we basically spent playing GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. I want to say it was at least 2 to 3 summers pretty much straight, where all we did was just either play multiplayer GoldenEye, or once Perfect Dark came around, we would just set up bots and fucking go to town on them. So I do really miss that era. And for me and you, the era of us playing split screen Halo instead of going to class, it's got a special place in my heart, Brian.
Of course.
Yeah. So,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, the nostalgia, I love the memories, but I'm saying
I think like I would like to say that maybe eventually, because like I hear from buddies of ours like Zotz or Longy Long, Ghetto Gamer, stuff like that, who play games with their kids. Who their kids are a little older than ours, so they can sit down and they can play split screen with their kids. So I hope that there's still games out there that we can do that with, or even play with our old retro. Like, there's a place for it. Is it better than online gaming? Overall, no. But I still think there is a cool little spot for it, especially with whatever your situation in life is.
No, I agree with that, and that was kind of my point. I didn't want to make it overrated, underrated, because I don't feel strongly enough in either sense, because I could see the argument, like you're saying. When my kids grow up, like, even if it is with the original games I did split screen, I want to do that with them. Like, I know I love the personal experience of sitting next to somebody and you feed off each other's energy. It is different doing it in person versus online.
Yeah.
But I could also see, if you're strictly talking from a gameplay standpoint, there's something also fun about how much fun we've had playing Call of Duty's, Left 4 Dead's, all the games we've played online, but been able to talk to each other.
But split screen Left 4 Dead was fun as shit too, back in the old apartment days.
Oh no, that was definitely fun, for sure. But it was, once again, it was like,
better online.
Yeah, it's just different experiences, and I'm not sure where I fall as far as which one I truly think is better.
If you're being objective, I guess you have to say online's better just for the convenience of it, but split screen has its place.
Yeah, I almost feel bad, and this is where I was
this
going
generation won't experience it.
I almost feel bad for our kids, like, unless their parents bring out, like, hey, you guys want to play my NES or my N64 or whatever, like, they're, one, going to probably only want to fucking play on their phones, which will drive me crazy.
Yep.
Or, like, yeah, whatever the latest console is, they'll play whatever shooter or whatever. And that feeling of playing a game together on split screen, it is tough to emulate, but I guess that's just a relic of what we were used to, unfortunately.
Bygone era, as they call it.
It is. Like you and I playing Streets of Rage 2 together. That's not split screen. I'm fine with games like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, there's a difference between, couch co-op and split screen, too, depending on the game.
Yeah.
Because, really, 16-bit, the only split screen game was fucking Toe Jam and Earl when you broke apart. Or Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Or race,
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Or any of the racing games.
Yeah, but that was, also more versus than co-op shit, too. There's a lot of gray areas we can do.
So here, I would say games that I would think are even better in person are probably sports games that aren't split screen.
Yeah.
Because to talk shit to someone, and
especially with say a
game,
football game where you can, when you're picking your plays, it's split screen, but once you get on the field, then it's all on one screen too.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, so I feel like sports games are actually better in person.
Oh, god damn it. What the fuck's his name? I feel bad right now. A guy on Twitter yesterday, he shocked the shit out of me. He was like, hey, I'm still waiting on those 16-bit sports game reviews that you were promising back in 2015. I was like, holy fuck. You get an instant follow right now for that. And
yeah, we yeah.
I was just like, if we were burnt out, I'm sorry. We're going to finish 8-bit.
God. Burnout, fighting games and sports. I've never been more burnout on genres than fighting games and sports games. But, yeah, like I said, it was just something I was thinking of. I don't even know what sparked it, but I was just like, yeah, and another good example is one of the systems you and I love, the N64 and some of these others, playing wrestling games.
Yep.
They're not split screen. And not to say that if somehow Xbox One was like, hey, here's No Mercy fully released for Xbox One and you can play online with your friends, I would jump on that in a goddamn heartbeat. And I think most people would. Yeah. And I think we could have just as much fun over line as we would in person. It's just, like I said, I don't know. It was just a weird, interesting little topic because I really want to hear from people who listen to us. What is your take on this? Do you have a strong preference one way or the other? Can you try and sway us as to which one is significantly better? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But like I said, if we're trying to take nostalgia out of it, which Jim and I have already admitted,
we try, but it's tough.
I have so many great gaming memories that are split screen, and they're usually my best memories. I think most people would agree. You think of your best gaming memories, and they're never when you're by yourself and you beat the hardest game, and you're like, yeah, I did it, all by your lonesome. It's usually with friends. So.
Yeah. And quick shout out to Christian at _ the smoke break _ he was the one who called us out for never hitting the 16-bit sports games. He's the only person who fucking saw our top 10 lists and did not check the comments and followed us after that for them. So thank you, buddy.
Yeah. No, we appreciate it. But yeah, let us know what you guys think below. Once again, if you ever have a topic, something you want us to talk about.
Especially one of those video games that sound like real music or vice versa, definitely send that our way.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, guys, Jim, I finished my same beers. You moved on. I know you've had the shape of hops to come before.
Yeah, I've definitely had it. Very solid Imperial IPA. Like I said before I started, doesn't reinvent the wheel, but if you want a very solid one that won't let you down, it's a good one. Not a ton of lacing, not overly hazy or see-through, but you know what? It does its job well.
Nice. And this one, like I said, it's fine. It's just nothing special. I really like Flying Monkeys, but this one is as average for me as it can get.
And we've had, goddamn, dude, we've had so many beers at this point. Oh, actually, quick sidebar, very, very quick. My wife, for Father's Day, got me a different beer box than the one I had before. And this one came with 12 separate beers, not just 3 of 4. And they're all across the spectrum of different types. So can't wait to break into these for the show.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'll do a video for it eventually, like I did for the craft beer box.
And I have 4 or 6 different 4-packs of meads my wife got me from Craft Meaderies from Havoc, and I can't pronounce it. It's like Grenefeld or Grenefell Meadery.
Okay.
They're pretty goddamn. They range from straight up basic mead to like hopped mead to cranberry mead. They're really friggin' delicious, and same deal. I'm definitely gonna do some kind of write up for our site for that. So
yeah,
make sure you follow us there.
Yeah, mine's from Craft Beer King, so I will say the variety for this box is definitely better than the original craft beer box, and I'll let you know about the quality.
Nice. So with that, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you do listen to us on iTunes, please make sure you give us a rating. If you can, give us a 5, even if you want to bash us. Comment below. And if you follow us on YouTube or anywhere else, tell some friends about us. But we're available literally everywhere that you can get podcasts. And we really appreciate you guys listening this whole time. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers, guys.